Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm JP Tong, and welcome to today's episode of Detox Your Mind. Today's topic is very interesting. I thought it would be exciting for everyone to understand what brainwashing is all about. Because growing up, I've always been warned by my parents, you have to be careful how you have to be careful with certain organizations or certain people who may have the ability to brainwash you. So, what is brainwashing exactly? Okay, so brainwashing has this connotation that you are influenced by others on how they would want you to think. So they have this skill to reset your entire belief system and to influence you on the way you think. So that has a very negative connotation, right? Because it implies that you can't that you are out of control and that you are under the influence of someone else or an organization. Okay, so brainwashing actually has that kind of a negative connotation. Well, what I want to bring up today is this, um, this message of brainwashing, or what we call conditioning of the mind, is something that is being spoken about, discussed about um, in the United States, and it's to do with social media, how social media platforms are using their platform to quote unquote people influence people in social media, and in a way, quote unquote, brainwash them towards a certain habit, feeding those certain habits, amplifying it. All right, and I will go through that shortly. So, since a lot of us are afraid of this word brainwashing, and we're always so careful not to be brainwashed, the fact of the matter is this: from the time that we're born until now, we have been brainwashed. Okay, I'll repeat. From the time we're born until now, we have been brainwashed. Think about it. See, brainwashing, it's about conditioning the way we think. So it is influenced by, first of all, what we observe. So as a baby, what do you observe? You observe your parents or whomever it is who was taking care of you. So you observe them, their actions, their speech, the routine that you are subjected to as a child. That environment that you grow up in is actually a process of brainwashing, or AKA, in other words, conditioning. All right. So, and then from there, then you will grow up to have school friends, or and then you go to school, and again, when you are in these environments, again, what do you experience? What do you experience on a day-to-day basis? So, and that kind of conditions you or brainwashes you to be of a certain, well, to be who you are right now, actually. Okay? To a certain extent. And you fast forward that. So and then you go to primary school or secondary school or high school, and you go to college, and so on and so forth. So education, how we were educated when we in school, it's also a way of brainwashing. So we're supposed to think like this. We're supposed to assess things like this. We're supposed to memorize, and whatever it is that in school we were taught. So when we grow up, that's why, if you think about it, we have been brainwashed to think a certain way. And I can say this is because, you see, since young, I've always attended English-speaking school in Malaysia. Then uh, for high school, I went to United States. So I pretty much grew up in a sort of a Western curriculum. Okay, so I was used to that, and I thought that was the norm growing up. And when I came back after graduated from college, I came back to Malaysia and started working, and I noticed this. And because I've been away throughout my entire teenage years, and then I come back, and because my parents themselves were or are Chinese educated, and I noticed that there's always a different way of thinking. Okay, and I could never understand the way why they would always assume that I should know this or I should know. So there are different. It's a different expectation and a different culture. Although they're my parents, okay, and in a way, it was like a culture shock for me. So, and I realized that, and this is not a judgment. I'm just pointing out what I notice is the difference with Western thinking and Chinese thinking. And I also noticed the same pattern with my colleagues and friends whom I made, friends whom I made in Malaysia who are Chinese educated, and they all think the way they think it's a certain way. So neither good nor bad, but I just noticed that there's a difference. So again, what's my point here? Even when we go through school, how we are taught to think and relate to society and relate to life, we have been brainwashed to behave, to react, to interact in certain ways without even realizing this. Okay, without even realizing. So education plays a huge part. Another area that plays a huge part in brainwashing is culture. Culture. So the culture that we are brought up in. Okay, I can relate to that because again, although during my teenage years I grew up in the United States, I also when I came back to Malaysia during summer holidays, there's certain Malaysian culture, there's certain Chinese culture because well my family the race my family race is Chinese. We're Chinese descendants. So again, these certain cultures of how you should talk, how you should behave, um, and certain things you do, certain things you don't do, and that has a huge contrast compared to how the Americans would behave and would say. So again, I noticed that difference. So again, it's about conditioning. So our culture plays a huge, huge, huge part in this brainwashing. And what is even uh, more influential in the way we think is what we see on TV, what we say in the movie, or what we see in the movies, and the adverts that are bombarded towards us. All right. So through social media nowadays, when you're on, if you watch TV, all the ads, and and even the TV programs that you watch, the movies that you watch, what is the message that they keep playing again and again and again? You see, brainwashing, you have to understand this, brainwashing is subliminal. So that means if you see it after a while, if you experience certain things after a while, it will go into your subconscious. It will go into your subconscious if you're not trained. If you're not trained with mindfulness, that means you're not always aware and you just observe and then you don't think about it, or you're not mindful of what it is that you have just observed. It will, after a while, it will go into your subconscious, and without you even realizing it, you may think that, oh, okay. So, for example, um, if you look at, let's say, perfume or fragrances, cologne for men, they always associate that fragrance with a model or with a certain message or with a certain lifestyle. And it's usually depicting sensuality. Okay, so but it doesn't say it to your face. But if you look at the image, you look at how the models stand, you look at the design, it always have some sort of sensual. It plays with the sensuality. And what is the message that you get subconsciously? What do you get? It says that it actually implies that if you wear this fragrance, be it a cologne for men or be it perfume for women, you will be able to attract your intimate partner. You'll be able to attract your intimate partner. And that is a subliminal message that keeps playing again and again, but it doesn't really tell you point blank. Does it make sense? Do we have any questions so far? If you do have any questions, please write on the comment section. Let me say hi to all of you. There's a Chinese person here. I don't read Chinese, but thank you very much for tuning in. Kok Yuan, Agnes, Sok Fun, David. Hi, David. Long time no see. Caroline, Yiman, Julie, Peg, Jerry, Lily, and Jesse. Hello. Thank you very much for tuning in. And for the rest of you who have tuned in for today's program. Okay, so do ask questions as I'm talking. Then if there's anything that you're not sure of what I'm talking about, please ask me on the comment section, and I'll stop and I'll answer them for you. All right. So moving along. So so things like adverts, and if you study mass media, advertising, if you're in that industry or public relations, you are taught to always send out these subliminal messages, and you don't have to say much. You have to just tell the consumers what it is why is it that they should buy your product. And it is always continuous kind of a message. And if you see it long enough, somehow you will want it, because you may. So back to the fragrance, if you want to attract an intimate partner, make sure you wear your fragrance. Okay? And for clothing, well, if you want to look beautiful, handsome, whatever it is, you want to look good, buy this shirt, buy this blouse, buy this brand. This brand is supposed to give you the the image of success, for example. Okay, you've made it. So if you buy this luxury product, it means you're telling everyone you've made it, for example. All right, so again, how adverts itself can actually brainwash us, and it's through years and years and years and years of just subliminal images, or what you hear, what you listen to on the radio, in the certain music that you listen to. So that itself, and also in movies. In the movies, they say, okay, they always go for big dreams. They always say, you live, this is what happiness is about. You live in a big house, you have a big car, everything is luxurious, and that is the goal towards happiness, and you live happily ever after. Okay, so and that's the message that many people grow up thinking, that if you have a relationship, if you have a family, if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of clothes, whatever it is, it's that image that's been repeated over and over and over and over again, that subliminally, it tells us, okay, so that must be it. That must be it. That must be the answer to being happy and at peace. Because why? That's what they say in the movies. That's what they say. You see, but you see, in the movies, we have to understand this. It is a fantasy, usually, that they're trying to create so that they'll transport you out of your stressful life right now and kind of fantasize how perfect things can be. All right. But I think if you've lived up to a certain age, you will realize that a lot of things in life requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of effort. It is not just because you hook up with your intimate partner and then that's it. You found your love and then you live happily ever after, for example. Okay? It takes a lot of effort to maintain relationships. It takes a lot of effort to be successful. It takes a lot of effort to raise children. Everything takes a lot of effort if in order to succeed. So it is not as easy and as stressless as what movies always or on TV, how they always paint this picture. And that is why a lot of people, when they go through life pursuing all these, and they go, wait a minute, it does not jive with what I see. It doesn't jive. Why am I not feeling the way I should be feeling? Why? So, and people become very confused because of that. And that's where a lot of people go to therapy, which I highly recommend. Because why? Therapy allows us to have some professional guidance on how we should process what we experience and what we observe in a healthy way, all right. So yes, and so what I'm saying is, so all these things that every day what we are observing, what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, these are a way that we are being brainwashed, that we're being brainwashed. Okay. Look at the culture of social media, putting up our selfies, our weefies, taking pictures of what everything that we do. And this phenomena only happened, what, for the last 10, 15 years? And it's become rampant right now, and it's become part of the lifestyle. And what is and what is that brainwashing? That the phenomena of social media and how people are becoming addicted to it is because these social media platforms, okay, if you think deeper, it plays on people's vulnerable side of always wanting to be validated, because when a lot of people, well, most people suffer from some sort of low esteem, okay? It varies from person to person. And many people, as a result, would want some sort of validation, assurance that yes, you are good enough. Yes, your life that you've created for yourself is to be envied, all right, and or to be rejoiced. So that's why if you look carefully, what is it that people put up on social media? What kind of pictures do they put up? Do they always promote themselves? And what part of themselves do they promote? Okay, so when you observe what people uh, what upload onto the social media, you will kind of be able to gauge what's happening in their mind, what's happening. But the majority is this: the majority is that they need some sort of validation because of the insecurity that they feel inside. So every time when they receive a like, every time when the person receives a like, it 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 gives them that assurance that okay, so people like what I am sharing. So it can be sharing a picture of myself, it can be sharing a picture of myself with my family, with my friends, showing them how fabulous your life is, how happy you are, at that moment. It can be the food that you want to share, and you want people to go, oh, I want to have what you're having, right? Um, or it can be your vacations, or anywhere that you go, and you want people to see where you go. Okay, but you ask yourself, why do you want people to see where you go, what you eat, who you're with, and all the different angles of your face that you're taking from one place to another? So what is the deeper psychology behind that? Because how many pictures can you take of yourself from different angles? Think about it. All right. So again, because we have been brainwashed that, yeah, use my social media platform to feel better. To feel better. It's a quick fix. So that is why right now, as I'm talking, a lot of teenagers are become so addicted by social media that it has become a social problem. The culture has been brainwashing the younger generation, even our generation, most people, thinking that they have to look a certain way. They have to look a certain way in order to be accepted. To be accepted. So if you don't have enough likes, it means that you are not accepted. That the majority of the people whom you know do not accept you because you're not glamorous enough, you're not thin enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not tall enough, you're not muscular enough, your life is not glamorous enough, the food you're eating is not fantastic enough. It's always not it. So if you're not careful, which is what's happening right now, and you're always using that to judge whether your life is on the right track. That is why a lot of teenagers are now becoming suicidal and going through huge depressions because when they compare themselves online with other online celebrities or other schoolmates who are better looking than them, and they get a lot of likes, they get depressed as a result. So they've been brainwashed to think that if you don't get enough likes, it means you're not good enough. And no matter what you do, you're not good enough. And that's why there is a situation whereby there's an increase of children becoming anorexic, bulimic. They starve themselves so that they can look a certain way because that's what the culture says. Being skinny, for example, is beautiful. Having big eyes means you're beautiful. Having fair skin, for example, is beautiful. Having your hair done a certain way means you're beautiful. All right, and I think we have read this on the news for many, many years, many, many, many years, and it's only recently that in fashion shows they have models that are not anorexic looking, and they are normal size people, not normal size people, walking the runway to actually stop this brainwashing that you have to be as skinny as a stick in order to be considered beautiful. So you can see this already, that this message was actually was being communicated, was being spoken about, I think for the last 10 years, if not mistaken. And you hear it, and you hear nowadays there are a lot of models that are like all of us. You don't have to be of a certain height, you don't have to be of a certain size, and they're walking the runway. Because why? Because in the fashion industry, they notice that it has become a kind of a brainwashing mechanism whereby what you promote, what people see every day, and how you quote unquote define beauty, and when people see it, they are brainwashed to think, oh yeah, you're right. So that's what beauty is all about. Okay, so that's why it's very, very careful, and that is why when we practice mindfulness training, We're able to catch ourselves when we fall into that trap. You see, because all this becomes subliminal. It's become part of you without you even realizing it. Without you even realizing it, right? So, and that is why, if you see, especially in Asian countries, people worship money. Money is it. And that's been in the culture. So we've been brainwashed to say, without money, you're not going to be happy. Without money, it doesn't mean you're successful. Without money, you will be lonely. And with all that negative consequences, if you're not if you're not a multimillionaire, for example, and that is the culture in Asia. So it's always very money driven. Nothing wrong about money, but what I'm saying is this, that it becomes part of that person. Okay? Part of that person. And for Asians here, I'm sure like during festivals, during any family gatherings, people are always comparing, oh, what car are you driving? How wealthy are you? How successful are you? And it's always that. It's always that. And people become depressed because of that. Because if you're not going to be as good as the person next to you, then you feel bad. You feel bad. You feel depressed. You feel stressed. There's always this comparison. All right. You see, notice that we have brainwashed ourselves without even realizing it to behave in this way, and hence a lot of us are going through stress, unhappiness. Some of us have anger issues, our mood swings. Sometimes we're very happy, so other times we're not. We're very flippant with what we want in life, and for some, whatever it is that we do in life, it's not as fulfilling as we would like it to be. And we're always chasing after dream after dream after dream after dream. Excuse me, because why? Because we have been brainwashed to believe that if we achieve this, it's supposed to bring us happiness. If we achieve this, it's supposed to bring me the relationship. If I look a certain way, I'm supposed to get this. So, but the reality is that it's not true. That's the reality. And because we've been brainwashed all these years, we become confused. And we start searching for answers. And many people go through a midlife crisis. Some even, go through a quote-unquote midlife crisis before their midlife, because what they are brainwashed to believe in does not fit into reality. And many people become confused. And many people are, how would I say, they don't know what else to do. And then next thing you know, oh, I watch in the movies. You should go for your bucket list. Okay, so that's the answer. Bucket list. So I'll fulfill my bucket list. You see, you have to realize is these are fantasy. These are things that are created for you to buy into it. Okay, so if in the movies you go, oh yeah, you should watch the movie. They talk about the bucket list, and then they go to all these places. It's fantastic. You should watch it. See, their strategy is to entice more consumers to buy their product. So if it's in the movies, then please go and watch this movie in the theaters. Okay, so, and as consumers, we don't realize it. We just believe that, that's it. That's life. That is what a perfect life should be. Okay, so the good news is this. Yes, we are always brainwashed, but since we're always brainwashed, we might as well brainwash ourselves to become mentally healthy. Okay, mentally healthy. So we brainwash ourselves to be able to process what we experience in life in a way that will help us live our fullest potential and live our Okay, Freon, continue. Continue. Okay. Sorry, there was a technical glitch just now. So the good news is that what I was saying is that we should always, well, since we are constantly being brainwashed, we must also be brainwashed to in a way that will help us live our fullest potential. Okay, the way we process our experiences, the way we process our what we perceive, process it in a way that will help us live our fullest potential and to live our fullest life. And that was what I was talking about just now. Okay, and that is why programs like this, detox your mind, and many other programs that are available with other speakers, they talk about this, how to recondition, how to unlearn what we've been learning all these years, which now you know is called brainwashing, and relearn so that you can still live your you can still continue with whatever it is that's in your life, but how you react to people, how you react to situations will be a lot different, because now you have learned healthier ways healthier ways to process. You have also learned to reconnect with your authentic self. Because why? Many people are, because of the way that they are so lost. Because why? How, what they were told when they're, in school, in the movies, in the adverts, whatever it is that they're seeing, they're bombarded with visually every day. It does not match reality. It does not match reality. And a lot of people go through a tailspin. And some people just, oh, forget it. They become in denial. Oh, I don't want to think about it. Life is too short. I'll figure it. I'll figure it out along the way. So again, whatever it is, whatever ways it is that you do, if you do not address it and understand it, and you always just and you kind of be in denial and just don't think about it, it will come back. Reality will come back and it will hit you even harder, even harder. Okay, and that is why many people go through midlife crisis, and that is why many people, after they retire, they're stuck. They don't know what else to do because they've been conditioned or they've been brainwashed that you to do whatever that you've been doing before you retired. And now all of a sudden you have retired from work. Then what do you do with your life? There is no deeper purpose in life because all this while you never had any deeper purpose. You never had a deeper insight of what life is all about. And you're just going through the motion, thinking that that's life. Because why? Ladies and gentlemen, because you have been brainwashed. You have been brainwashed. Okay? So I think that's about it. Are there any questions so far? Okay. So now after this, I do have a workshop, and again, like I always say, during the workshop, I will actually answer your questions that may arise, and I will go deeper on the subject, on the topic that I have just spoken about. So if you'd like to join the workshop, please do so, and just write in to be mindful at kechara.com. All right. Before I say goodbye for today, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsor for today. With the sponsorship, with the sponsorship, we are able to maintain our online programs for all of you to enjoy. The first sponsor is Mr. Lam Cochran and family. Dedication, may His Eminence Capture Tem Rinpoche return swiftly to KFR to turn the Dharma wheel again. And the second sponsor is Anonymous. Dedication dedicated towards all beings' liberation from suffering and attainment of compassion, wisdom, and true happiness. All right, so on that note, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that you have learned something about brainwashing and realized that we have been brainwashed all this while, although we have been shunning from situations and from people whom we believe are trying to brainwash us. All right, so take care, and I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye.